Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be talking about all of my favorite wet looking / glitter topper eyeshadows. I talked about this in my one and done video and a lot of you said I should do this, so I'm really excited to get into it because these are so pretty and some of my favorite shadows to wear. So I hope you enjoy. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already, and let's get into it. The first few that I'm going to talk about are my most worn glitter toppers / wet looking eyeshadows, and then after those first few they're just going to be ones that I love to wear but I don't wear as often, but they're still amazing, beautiful glitter / wet looking eyeshadows. So the first shadow I'm going to talk about is of course the one on my eyes right now. This is the most captivating, alluring, like beautiful magical eyeshadow ever, and of course it's Clionadh Cosmetics. Yeah, I had to talk about them, and this is actually my most worn shade from them, from all of the shadows that I have from them. This is the shade Exothermic, and I think it's from their stained glass collection, but this is truly like the gateway eyeshadow into Clionadh Cosmetics because every time I've worn this in person I've gotten a compliment, and specifically they'll ask what this shade is and where it's from, and it'll be like the shade that they get in their first order, if that makes sense. It's the gateway shadow. I just think it's so pretty. It has these gorgeous like blue and silver flecks with kind of like a champagne-y base. I almost always use this as a topper, but I have worn this as like a one and done, but I usually wear it as a topper, and that's why it's in this video rather than my one and done eyeshadow video. Another reason I do that is because this is quite flecky, so it does have a lot of glitter like particles, and you have to be kind of gentle and careful with this when you put it on your eyes because you can get a lot of fallout. I actually got a lot of fallout today because first of all I had way too much shadow on my finger, so my suggestion is to just barely tap your finger into it and then press it onto your eye. That way you won't get as much fallout, or I would recommend doing your eyes first and then continuing on with your base. However, if you do your eyes after your base and you do get fallout, one of my favorite tricks is to just get some tape, put it around your finger, and just pick up any extra glitter that like might have fallen on your face, and it does the trick pretty well. But sometimes you kind of can't avoid getting glitter on your face, and usually when I'm going for this eyeshadow it's okay that I get glitter all over my face. I did put a ton on today accidentally because I was like swatching it, and then I had way too much on my finger from swatching it for the video, and then I used the same finger swatch on my eyes and it was just too much. So this is a little intense for how I would usually wear it, but it's beautiful regardless. But those are just some suggestions to try and avoid fallout with this shade. But yeah, this is the most gorgeous, stunning shade. I love it so much, and it's my most worn and complimented and asked about shadow in person specifically. So this is the shade Exothermic. I also have a code with Clionadh Cosmetics, so if you want to check this shade out or any of their other shades, use the code Rainier and save yourself some money. Now my most worn glitter topper / wet looking eyeshadows have to be the Phytosurgence ones. These are their Flash Fluorescence eyeshadows in the shades Fractal, Freesia, and Lunar Lightwave. Both of them are gorgeous glitter toppers, and they do look very like wet and sparkly on the eyes. And my favorite thing about these is that they don't have fallout and they last all day long on the eyes. For the Clionadh Cosmetics one, I would use a primer and just be gentle with it, but these you don't really have to do that. You can just dig your finger in it or dig your brush in it and put it all over your eyes. You don't get fallout and they last forever. And these are my favorite for like the daytime or just like everyday use because they're not as intense, but they still get that really beautiful like captivating wet glittery eye look. And these are just like the daytime glitter toppers for me. They also look stunning in the evening as well, but they're not as like show-stopping, I suppose, as like the Clionadh Cosmetics one. So if you're looking for like an everyday glitter shadow, wet looking eyeshadow, I would go for these ones because they're just a little bit more approachable, I guess, if that makes sense. Lunar Lightwave is a bit more pinky, while Fractal Freesia is a bit more like gold and champagne-y. So I think they're both gorgeous, but they do work for different vibes. So if I'm going for more of like a pink look or more of like a cool toned look, sometimes I'll go with Lunar Lightwave, and then for more of my warm tone looks I'll go with Fractal Freesia. But they work with all looks and they're beautiful regardless on like any eyeshadow, so it doesn't really matter but I just wanted to mention that. Oh, I also forgot I love the shade Starlight Symphony as well. This one kind of is an in-betweeny of a one and done eyeshadow and a glitter topper. I do mostly use this as like a glitter topper type shadow. The next one is a pretty affordable one and probably one you have heard of. This is the Colourpop eyeshadow in the shade Ritz, and this is so beautiful, so wet looking. Like, this is very wet looking. I don't know why I said it like that, but it's like, wow, you look like your eyes are wet. Anyway, this is, I think, the most wet looking eyeshadow. The other ones that I have to talk about are more glittery, but I think this is the most actual wet looking one. I just love how this looks both in the day and in the evening. I think it's so pretty. It's really easy to use. This has a cooler tone, silvery kind of reflect, and I think that's why this is the most like wet looking, just because of the way it reflects the light. It just makes your whole lid look actually wet, and I think it's one of those shadows that you're gonna be like looking a little bit closer at the person's eyes and wondering what's on their eyes as well. So this is a huge favorite. I think a ton of people know about this, but I wanted to mention it because I do wear it a ton. It's one of my favorites. The next one I'm super excited about too, because anytime I go to a concert, I usually think, oh, I want to use this one. This is the Half Magic Glitterpuck, and this is in their Dopamine Sparkle shade. I think they have another one that's like silvery, but this one is pinky. I have to be careful because I think it might fall out of the jar. This is such a gorgeous glitter topper slash glitter eyeshadow. This one doesn't look as wet. I think this one looks more glittery than wet, but this is so pretty for just kind of like topping any eyeshadow look in the middle with it. I think that's gorgeous for like an everyday look, but if you want to go more intense for like concerts or in the evening, I love slapping this all over my eye look, and it just brings another dimension and something more fun to your eye look if that's what you're going for. But another thing that I love to do with this is to put a little bit on my lower lash line or a little bit on my inner corner, and it just is so pretty and makes your eyes just look so like whimsical. I think this is in such a big jar because they do suggest wearing it like on your body or like on your collarbones or maybe on your cheeks if you wanted, but I really only use this on my eyes, and I think it's gonna last me for forever because of how big of a pan jar this is. Those first four are my absolute favorite glitter eyeshadows slash wet looking eyeshadows. They're my most worn and my most asked about slash complimented as well, and I just love them so much, so I wanted to get my favorites in there first. Now moving on to the rest of the eyeshadows I'd like to recommend. Where do I begin? I think I'm gonna begin with Kaja. The first I want to mention, and probably my most worn out of the next bunch of eyeshadows, are the Kaja eyeshadows. Unfortunately, these do come in trios, or fortunately, depending on what you want. If you do just want that top glittery top shadow, then you do have to buy the other ones, but usually I like the entire trio and it makes for a beautiful eyeshadow look when you put all of them together. But their glitter toppers are so gorgeous. I think K Beauty and J Beauty just does it the best, and these are so mesmerizing. They're also quite flecky too, kind of like the Clionadh Cosmetics ones. I just love how wet they can look on the eyes, and I love the different shades that they have. This is from the Mauve Bouquet trio. Another one that has a gorgeous glitter topper is the Smolder season one. Another one I have here is Cold Brew. This has some gorgeous flecky like glitter toppers as well. And then I also really like the Rosewater one. This one isn't as flecky and like glittery as the other ones. I would say that this top shade looks a little bit more wet than the other ones, but these are just gorgeous, gorgeous eyeshadows. Gorgeous, gorgeous girls. I wear these all the time as well. I love these little Bentos so much. I think they're very underrated. I think Kaja in general is underrated. I had to shout out Kaja Beauty because I love this brand so much, and their shadows are gorgeous and you get a ton of options. So if the other shadows that I talked about were not your vibe, mayhaps they will have one that you like. Speaking of J Beauty and K Beauty, this is a J Beauty brand. This is Canmake, and I would say you could go on to like Yes Style or Stylevana and they will have a ton of options for glittery, gorgeous, wet looking eyeshadows or like glitter toppers, but the ones that I have are the Canmake Tokyo Jewelry Shadow Veil. This is in the shade 03. This one is so pretty. It's more of like a purpley cool toned glitter topper. I really like wearing this when I have like a blue or purple eyeliner on, and then I'll put this on top, or like a cooler toned eyeshadow look and I'll dab that on top, and it's just gorgeous. It reflects the light beautifully, and I really like looking at my eyes when I wear these. I feel like these are the most surprising of the bunch because I don't know, you don't expect it to be so pretty when you wear it on your eyes, but it really is. And I kind of catch myself looking at my eyes when I'm wearing these ones. I also have the Royal Pearl eyes, and this one is more of like a duo that has a normal eyeshadow and then like a glitter topper. I don't wear this one as much. I do usually wear this one, the jewelry one, as a topper. I just wanted to mention this one as two because there are options. This is in the shade 01. I also love and appreciate how small and compact these are. First of all, because I love tiny makeup. I just think it's so cute. And then second of all, these are great for traveling. So if I'm really trying to pack light, I'll usually go in with like a Kaja all matte eyeshadow trio. I love the one in Velvet Dream. And then I'll pack one of these, and then I'll have like a multitude of eyeshadow looks with 3 different mattes and then 2 different glitter toppers, and I can just put it on any of the matte shades or any of the eyeshadow looks that I create with them, and it just brings it to the next level or makes it look more cutesy and sparkly and glittery. I love these for their compact packaging and how cute it is. This next one is technically not an eyeshadow, it's a highlighter. It is the How Many Carats Diamond Bomb highlighter from Fenty. This is a very scattered glitter eye look, and I think this one's really pretty too because it's not going to add too much color or too much of anything extra other than looking like sparkly and glittery and reflective. That's what I really like about this one, because you really can pop this onto any eyeshadow look and it'll make it look sparkly, glittery, and this one also can look very, very wet on the eyes too, depending on what you have underneath or if you wear it alone. But this one's great. It's just a little big for a single eyeshadow if you're going to use it that way. I do find that it's a bit too like flecky and apparent as a highlighter, but as an eyeshadow, gorgeous. I also love this packaging, it's so pretty. The next one is also technically a highlighter. This is the Space Age Gifted Highlighter by Kaleidos, and the second that I swatched this, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a beautiful glitter topper and glitter eyeshadow, and this is very pretty. I think this one also looks very wet, but it mostly looks like iridescent wet, like an oil spill wet, if that makes sense, because it has like these green, blue, even pink reflex to it, so it's a bit more colorful than all the other ones that I was talking about. I feel like all the other ones that I talked about are more neutral and can go with like any eye look. This one has a bit of like a multi-chrome dimension to it. I feel like it can go with a lot of different eye looks, but it's gonna change the color of it a little bit. Like it's gonna add a kind of like green wet looking vibe to it, like greeny pinky bluey wet looking vibe to it. It also kind of reminds me of like a scarab. It's so pretty, and I love this aluminum like tin packaging. It's very satisfying, but again, this is kind of like bigger, and this is technically a highlighter as well, so you could use it as both, but I do just use this as an eyeshadow because this vibe for me is a bit too much for a highlight. I don't really wear makeup like that, but I usually like to use it as a glitter topper and a glittery eyeshadow. So that is one that is a little bit more fun than the others. Finally, I had to talk about these. I'm sure you're all gonna expect this, and that's why I put it last, because I think everyone knows about these and everyone talks about them as gorgeous, wet looking glitter toppers, and they are the Urban Decay Moon Dust eyeshadows, and these, they're hyped for a reason. These are so gorgeous, specifically these shades Space Cowboy and Cosmic. I love that they come in their own single packaging as well as single eyeshadows because it makes it really easy to travel with. You can just buy one and then have a glitter topper for a multitude of looks. Cosmic is more of a white reflect glitter topper. It's similar to the Fenty Beauty one that I talked about, whereas Space Cowboy has a champagne like base to it. Both are absolutely stunning. stunning. I do think that Space Cowboy looks more wet and I wear it more. I do like Space Cowboy more because I feel like it complements my skin tone a lot better. It feels a little bit more natural on my skin tone, if that makes sense, whereas this one kind of can look a little too white, a little too like stark on my eyes. So I usually wear Space Cowboy, but this one is really pretty because you can like top it onto a look if I just gently tap it onto my eye look, because it has that like white base. But both are gorgeous, and I love that they have a ton of options of these like glittery toppers now. Okay, so those were all of my favorite wet looking glitter eyeshadow slash glitter toppers. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if we shared any favorites, and let me know if you have any favorite wet looking slash glitter eyeshadows, because I can always add more to my collection. But I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!